What is happening, my friends? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. This is a show we discuss trending news and thought-provoking topics from the fields of politics, sports, pop culture, and so much more. This is, I believe, episode 113, y'all. 113. Time flies by when you're having fun. That is very true here on this show. Look, have a great one in store for you today. I'm excited to have my dear friend, Miss Nikia Miller. She is a political strategist, analyst, commentator, you name it. I consider her just really a political expert in the game, not just here in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area, but abroad. She's very knowledgeable. She also written a couple of op-eds that we'll talk about later on in the show, but she is my special guest for today's program, and so excited to have her on because, as you know, y'all, it's election season, and I've mostly been having people that work behind the scenes and just experts within the field of politics on a local, state, and even federal level. Spoken with candidates who is new to the game. I've also spoken with elected officials, some people you can consider career politicians as well. So I've been having people from all different sides of the aisle, different backgrounds, and just been having some very engaging, very great knowledgeable conversations. So very hyped to have her on today on today's show. As you see scrolling at the bottom, do me a favor, y'all. If y'all are listening to this right now, be sure to give us 5 stars, share it with everybody. This episode, the show, the Arrington Gavin Show, drops new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast. So, Apple, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. To make it a little easier search for you, do me a favor and type in the letter R, Smooth Club Media. Okay, R Smooth Club Media. It will take you right there to the Arrington Gavin Show. Also, if you prefer to watch the video version of this program, it drops on those exact same days, but at a different time. That time is 5 p.m. Okay, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe. It is R Smooth Club Media. Okay, R Smooth Club Media on YouTube. Rumble is the Arrington Gavin Show. X is RSC Media, and then also Facebook is R Smooth Club Podcast. All right, and then on Saturdays, y'all, you can check out reruns of the Arrington Gavin Show Saturdays and Sundays at 7 p.m. on ESP TV on Facebook, as well as ErnestSmithProductions.com. So we truly appreciate the continuous support that y'all have been doing for the show. As you know, we are a grassroots, really independent media company. It's really just a conversation. It's an avenue where I get to engage with some awesome people who I think is very just interesting, people I want to have a conversation with. I've told y'all many of times I'm not really big on reading. I don't read a lot of books. I get my knowledge within conversations because I love people. I love having those one-on-one conversations, and just I learn in conversations, regardless of backgrounds. I'm just, hey, it's always great because the more you know. There is a freaking gnat in here, y'all, while I'm talking, and I'm over here like looking at the camera, but also like looking around. Y'all probably watching like, what is wrong with Arrington? Look, it is just this one little. Y'all ever had that just one gnat that y'all think y'all killed like probably like 10 years ago, and he comes back for vengeance? I'm like, damn, I thought I took care of you. But we still gonna make it through this, y'all. We gonna make it through this. Also, have got to shout out some proud supporters of the Arrington Gavin Show, like my good friend Mr. James Church over at Priority Ford. Yes, Mr. James Church is the general manager and I believe ownership in that Priority Ford dealership over in Norfolk, Virginia. So if you're in the Hampton Roads area, please go to Priority Ford if you're looking for that great vehicle, whether if it's a truck, a sedan, I'm telling you, they got some awesome vehicles. For more information about them, check them out at 3420 North Military Highway in Norfolk, Virginia. You can also call them at 757-255-8935. Let them know that Arrington Gavin has sent you there. Mr. Church will take good care of you. He's taking care of me right now because I've been having some complications with my Bronco at the moment. But hey, they hooked me up with a loaner, and they are taking real good care of me. So I just want to shout them out as well. And also, too, my good friend, Mr. Bernardo. He is a close family friend. He is a awesome dude. He has an amazing menswear over in the MacArthur Mall. You can also check him out online as well. It's Bernardo's Menswear, specializing in fine men's apparel. For more information about them, again, if you're in the Hampton Roads area, visit him on the first floor at the MacArthur Mall. Okay, first floor at the MacArthur Mall, Bernardo's Menswear. Or if you want to check him out online, go to www.bernardosmenswear.com. And got so many other ones. Let's see. Am I forgetting one? Oh, absolutely. And we're going to do a commercial a little later, but I got to acknowledge a Black-owned, veteran-owned spirit called Ingenious Gin right here. Okay. For those gin explorers and gin connoisseurs, I'm telling you, this is a gin that is some kind of good. Okay. It's a great mixer. You can have it straight on ice. I'm telling you. And I'm a brown lover. Okay. So when it comes to bourbons, whiskeys, I even love, dabbing dealing tequilas. Okay. But I'm new in the gin game. And thanks to Reggie and Lawrence over at Ingenious Gin, they got me into gin. I'm like, what in the world? And it's a very unique, as you see, it's a rose gold gin. Okay. Rose gold gin. And they are awesome. If you are wanting to have this on your shelves at the at your bar, or just enjoy a good beverage, go to their website at ingeniousgin.com, or you can visit wherever you can get your spirits at. So I know, like, outside of Virginia has the ABC store, so you can go check them out in your local ABC stores. But if you're outside of Virginia, you can check out some of your local spirit stores out there and go grab you a bottle of Ingenious Gin, right? Ingenious Gin. And lastly, gotta acknowledge too, Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Rugged is the new smooth with 17 scented beard oils and beard balms. They are having amazing products. You can check them out on their website at ruggedevo.com, or you can go to them on walmart.com, Amazon. They're on multiple Etsy as well. So they're on multiple online retailers you can find them at. They will make sure that your facial hair and skincare needs is well taken care of, man. All right. Because as I say it all the time, you got to take care of your body internally as well as externally. Oh, now that I've got that out the way, whoo, that was a lot, right? So, what to say? There's been so much stuff happening in the world of politics, right? Not just on a local, circuit, but of course, obviously on a mainstream, on a federal level. If you're tuning in, obviously you're living under a rock. If you haven't heard, former President Donald Trump is currently, every day it's him at court. Every day is him in court. And I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not a fan of former president by any means, but I'm getting kind of tired of seeing this televised. Like I get it. He's getting sued. He's getting charged. He's this and that. It's getting old when it's like every day. That's literally all. Oh, guess where we're at, guys? We're outside the courtroom hearing what this man has to say next. I'm just like, really? It's a lot. It's a lot, because we know he's gonna say it's a witch hunt. All right, this it's a witch hunt. All right. I really think that this is just what is the word he likes to use? Oh my gosh. Not even witch hunt. It's the it's all a hoax. All right. This is the corruption of what is occurring here, and it's that's literally all he does. And I'm gonna tell you right now, because I'm always working on my Trump impersonation. I don't know why. It's like I'm starting to talk like him whenever something goes wrong. Like, oh man, I was watching I forgot which sporting event I was watching. I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? It's a witch hunt. I'm telling you, it's a witch hunt. All right. Excuse me. And my wife looked at me like, please don't. I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What it? And she's like, Arrington, stop. And it's just it's too much. It's too much, y'all. Help me. Dr. Phil, Dr. Drew, somebody help me. But yeah, it's a lot happening. And then on top of that, Trump got the dance that's going viral too. Whenever he got this, that's all he do. And I'm just like, oh Lord, it's killing me, man, killing me. But yes, more with the Trump trial is occurring. What else is happening right now, y'all? Obviously, issues happening in Congress and Senate amongst Republicans and Democrats, and really even issues happening within their own parties, right? You have Marjorie Taylor Greene really not being a fan of the House Speaker, who is, he's been a strong conservative, highly recommended by former President Trump as well, but she's not a fan. She wants to see him out. Then you go onto the Democratic side, and the squad, and I'm forgetting the names. I know they involved, oh Lord, AOC, and there's three, I believe 2 or 3 other individuals. I'm forgetting. See, my friend Nikia can remind me on those names, but the squad is having issues with current President Joe Biden. Obviously with the Gaza and Israel protest. So it's a lot of tension really just happening amongst parties in politics. I was talking with my friend Nikia how this is really just, this presidential election is just a circus, y'all. It is a straight circus. It is insane, and that's why I always want you to realize, like, you don't, the federal level, yes, it's an important role. You should always vote, but also know what's happening in your backyard and in your local office, because it's always going to come back down to affect you at your local office. So that's why I'm even more excited to have Miss Nikia Miller on, because I want to get her thoughts in a just reviews on some of these candidates that are either new to politics that is running for office, or some that is running for re-election. I want to get her take on some of these candidates. So look, y'all, what we're gonna do a quick commercial break. Oh, thank you, Congresswoman Tlaib. Thank you to my dear friend, Mr. Kim Miller. She's providing some notes that I was forgetting there on the members of the squad. But what we're gonna do a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll have on Miss Nikia Miller, political strategist, analyst, commentator, writer. She like I said, all around political expert. So we're gonna have her on right after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more here on the Arrington Gavin Show.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All right, family, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin, coming to you on another great day, another great episode. Before I bring on my dear friend, Miss Nikia Miller, I just got to shout out this shirt. I got this shirt from Ross, y'all. Now, Ross ain't paying me right now, but I just got to acknowledge, because I think I got it for like $11 or $12. I've been loving it. It's hot right now in Hampton Roads. It's hot in Virginia. So you got to get those more breathable shirts. I just had to acknowledge that because I didn't mention in the beginning. So without further ado, I'm excited to have my dear friend, Miss Nikia Miller. Nikia, hey, friend. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule to come in here to chat here on the Arrington Gavin Show. We are so excited to have you. I just want to first start. Okay, give us a little background about you. Are you originally from the Hampton Roads, Virginia area? Born and raised, lifelong red. Like, give us the audience just a little quick, little bio, a little background.
Yeah. I'm Nikia Miller, a business strategist, a political strategist, a freelance graphic designer, and a habitual line stepper. I was born and raised in Hampton. I did what most Hampton Roads girls do. I threw a rock and hit a sailor, and we're working on year 19.
That is awesome. Okay.
I really got into the arts, while in school. I just always loved the idea of making things beautiful. But I also was raised in, an area where the expectation was to be civically engaged, and that was set by my grandparents. So I've always, been someone who volunteered for campaigns and did all the extra things,
Mm-hmm.
then my life changed.
Mm.
I was informed by the principal of my daughter's elementary school that she had been sexually assaulted.
Mm. Mm.
And the assault started when she was 5. My husband and I found out when she was 7, and she's now my 11-year-old rape survivor.
Wow. Wow.
After I lost my whole mind,
Mm-hmm.
I asked for some pretty simple things from Hampton City Schools. And the responses from HCS made the situation 10 times worse.
Mm. Mm.
They weren't willing to do even basic things for my daughter. There's a lot more to that.
Mm-hmm.
And what it led me to was that all of these electeds up here, number one, are part of the problem.
Mm.
And number two, the people don't know about it because they don't know when, because they're not as tuned in to things to know when the school board meetings are, when the city council meetings are. And then you get there and there's like 4 people. And it needs to be something other than a popularity contest. And that's kind of where I went into political strategy. A lot of candidates, especially grassroots candidates,
mm-hmm.
they don't know heads from tails. They know that something needs to change in the environments that they're in, and nobody's doing it but them. But being able to have those conversations about, okay, what's your end game in this? Do you have a website? Have you got your business license, your checking account for your campaign? What is your fundraising plan? What is your communications plan?
Yeah.
Just all of those things that are past the, okay, I want to run for office. Now what? I'm opinionated, and I don't apologize for that. I'm a Black woman in politics, and that's what I exude. That's my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do everything that I can in order to, leave the world a better place than I found it. And, if it's, actually one time.
I love it. And one thing, Nikia, what stuck, what came to my head while you were talking was, and I hear this from a lot of newcomers that are running for office, but residents and people within the community are very uninformed of what's happening as far as like new things going on within their cities, in their communities. And the local elected officials are not doing a good job kind of being a voice for the people. And also the messaging really sucks. It really does, because as a person who is still continuing to learn more what's happening in local politics, especially here in Chesapeake, like,
right.
I was unaware that, Chesapeake got their own website, your local city.gov, or when is your when a meeting is held that is open to the public, by the way,
right.
That is open to the public. People don't know about that stuff. And it's just, the messaging is very, very crucial, because that also helps when it comes to voting turnout. I know Chesapeake alone, being the second largest city population wise in the state of Virginia, has some of the worst numbers in voting, even especially within the Black community. I mean, it's a really, it sucks. I'll just make it simple, that it sucks. But I do notice that we have local officials that don't try to help that problem, because at the end of the day, they're used, they love that power position. They love where they're sitting at, right?
Right.
They love having the close relationships with, you know, high corporations that work within their cities and developers and you name it. I mean, they love that. And that's the corruption side of politics. So it makes it's very hard for, I would say, for people that are kind of debating on the importance of voting. Like I always try to, you know, help, you know, with my close friends or even young people, right, that is at least 18 or 19, or even, I mean, I spoke with people that's 70s that's like, my vote don't count. I ain't worried about that stuff. I got better things to do. And I'm like, wait, what?
Right,
like,
wait, what? Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what's even crazier is that people don't understand that voting in the Commonwealth is one of the easiest processes on earth. Like, you have no excuse to not vote in Virginia.
Yeah,
you got
right.
46 days. 46 of them.
That is
that
crazy.
You can vote.
That is crazy.
And then people are like, oh, well, I'm not, you know, I have mobility issues. Okay. Do you have a caregiver? Do you have a child? If you can get into their car and get on the passenger side, they can drive you to the voter registration.
I'm with you on that, Nikia, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was recently at a local city meeting. This was held out in Chesapeake because we have and it was hosted by the Chesapeake NAACP, and it was a town hall discussing of trying to make Chesapeake a single member district system.
Right.
For those who are listening and watching this, probably like saying, okay, what does that mean? The district system, so our council is about 9 people on council. We are still at large, meaning that those 9 people represent the whole city of Chesapeake. But here's the issue. I'll say 85%, maybe even more, a majority of the people serving on council are catering to the Hickory Grassville area, which Hickory Grassville is a very well put, wealthier side of Chesapeake. When it comes to saying more of the urban neighborhoods, some not even just urban neighborhoods, but low income communities, they don't pay that no mind because that's not their spot. They're like, okay, look, I'll take a trip around there, but I'm not from here. I don't know this side of town. And it doesn't mean really anything to me personally. So it's very difficult. And that's why it's very important to have a district system so that your council member is a representative of your community. Because if a resident or a citizen has an issue with what's going on in their public schools or going on within their neighborhoods, they got to call somebody, and they're going to call somebody that has no clue what Pewsville is or where Pewsville is. And that's in certain other cities. Now, I believe out of the 7 cities, and Nikia, you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I know Norfolk has the ward system.
Norfolk is a ward system.
Virginia Beach has district.
Ward. If you're listening to someone and they say ward system or district system, it's the same thing.
It's just
okay. By another name. Norfolk has a ward system. Virginia Beach has a ward system. Newport News has a ward system.
Wow. I think the Suffolk somewhat has Suffolk. Theirs is maybe different, yeah, because they're like they do represent. I think they might have like a district system or something similar, possibly.
Chesapeake is at large. Hampton is at large.
Portsmouth, I think, is still at large.
Yeah, Portsmouth is still at large. Yeah, and that's everything.
And it does it's insane, at least for and why, and I brought that up because there were so many people that was saying, well, what are y'all gonna do as far as transportation to go out and vote and this and that and the other? And me being the again opinionated person that doesn't really think before he says, in my head I'm like, don't y'all go to the grocery store? Don't y'all go to don't y'all go to church? Like you go to certain spots. And I also said, maybe some of the churches can get involved, because I'll be honest, we got a lot of churches on like one block is about
I'm about to bust your bubble.
Uh-oh.
Either Uber or Lyft is free to the polls.
Wow.
Free.
Wow.
All you got to do is tell them that you are going to vote.
Wow.
3.
That is huge, because that has been a huge that was a ongoing repeated question that they were sharing to the state officials, because I believe it was oh Lord, you had state state delegates that were there, council members, and everybody was like, well, what about transportation? This I'm like, you telling me not one of these churches, and I'm not dogging
And
any of them,
nobody,
but
like, they ain't no church rats.
and see, and that's what kills me, because the sad thing is there are, and I'm not saying all of them, but there are some local churches in our communities that are very politically affiliated with whoever's in council. They have those relationships, right? So
Right.
they're gonna be on their agenda and do whatever they can to help make anybody that's in office look great. So it's sad, but I mean, not some of the churches are in good company or mean well when it comes on the political scene. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, it's just uncanny to me.
Yeah.
Virginia is a no reason absentee state.
Mm.
You can request a mailed ballot for the rest of your life in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Wow.
And just people's apathy to voting just blows my mind. And then when you get voter apathy, and then you have these elected officials that got elected off of voter apathy, then they don't want to do anything about it. And I personally think that, why is it that the cities can't rent school buses for a day? After your route, the route is done for the kids, so right back up and circle the route once again and stop at the polling locations.
Well, and I think the sad part is, the first thing that come to mind is, don't nobody want to pay nobody extra to do that, and they always say, well, it's not within the budget, knowing damn well cities
that they
have
can make it part of the budget.
Thank you, and it's like,
they
have the money. That's another thing. They have the finances to do things like that, because it's very harmless, but they're like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that, and it's very unfortunate. But Nikia, we're gonna come back to that. I definitely want to go to really just we have some big elections happening in the Hampton Roads area.
Absolutely.
I would start with let's start with your city. Let's start with the city of Hampton. So I've read about she's like, you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to do it? No, I want to start with your city, because it has been announced.
They don't want me to go with
I have read that Mayor Tuck, who has been a mayor for some years over in Hampton, he is not running for re-election.
Thank you, Jesus.
Okay. Well, I guess y'all we already got we
got. Oh, can
you
tell how I feel about Donnie the Tuck? Can you tell how I feel about Donnie the Tuck?
I can. So he's not running for re-election. I believe there is what is it
there's
4
2
seats? Oh, 2 seats for council that's up for
Well, no, there's 2 seats. Well, there's 2 people running for mayor.
Okay.
And then there are 3 seats that are up.
Okay. Who are those candidates for running for mayor? Is any of them already kind of familiar within, like, is there any person from council that happens to say, hey, look, I'm going to try and run for mayor, or is it someone completely new that is?
It is people who are known quantities because they ran before.
Okay.
The first candidate is the current vice mayor,
Jimmy Gray, yes.
The other candidate is Rochelle Wallace. She's run for mayor before. She retired from the firefighters. She was a Hampton firefighter. And she ended up suing the city of Hampton.
Wow.
like I said, she's ran for mayor before. I like her this time. Jimmy Gray has a significant following, but I think Rochelle has a chance if people get to know her. And then, a fair assessment between, Vice Mayor Gray and Rochelle can be made. I know them both. Jimmy Gray is not in my list of deplorables on the Hampton City Council. So yeah, I just personally feel that Rochelle would bring a really bright and fresh tone to the Hampton City Council. And, the changes that I've heard from her, on different things I really like. So, I like her for that. There's a long list of individuals that are running. Well, I'm not gonna say it's long. I think the last time I checked, it was 7 people for 3 seats.
Wow, so pretty stacked candidate card in a sense that are people running. Okay, which is never a bad thing. Which I at least I see that there's people that are wanting to run, because I think for me it's like I always hate to see what's the word I'm looking for, just vacant seats. There's a term, I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now, but when a person that's up for re-election doesn't have an opponent at all. Uncontested, yes. I'm not a fan of that, because it's just like I feel like there's no fight, obviously, and then all they do is just hop on to each and every candidate just to make them known, have their get the exposure. But it's really like, okay, what issues are you going to be? And that's what I never care for that. And I've had friends that oh, absolutely, and I've had friends that has won races like that, and I'm happy for them. But I've always told them, like, man, I just wish that you could have, you at least want to have somebody, even if they don't raise a lot of noise, but it's still like, okay, boom, you put in the effort. It's just something I think that always makes the people happy. I'm always like worrying of what the people see from the outside looking in a sense.
I agree. I hate uncontested races.
Yeah.
This one is definitely contested because the Hampton City Council did a lot this past year to piss a lot of people off. They voted to allow a manufacturing plant to be placed at the back of a historically Black neighborhood.
Wow.
On the ground that used to be owned by the Virginia School, that used to house the Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind.
Wow.
It like, that is one of the city council meetings that was crowded.
Wow.
Like 200 and 300 people crowded.
Whoa, that's a large number right there.
Yeah, it lasted from like 6:30 until like quarter to 12 or something like that. It was, because people were mad, and that has caused some people to enter the race.
And the
Hampton Council in itself is just a huge clusterfuck. I'm just
may I ask, because I know, when it comes to like local races, they're always running as an independent, but we all know that obviously they're backed by certain political parties while they're campaigning and things like that. What is the majority of Hampton's council? Is it independent? Is it Democrat? Is it Republican?
It's mixed.
It's mixed. Okay, so it's very okay.
Mixed. It leans heavy Democrat right now.
Okay.
But I think that's because of voter apathy.
Okay.
And the people, the same problem that Chesapeake has is the same problem Hampton has, where you have all of these people on council who are from Old Wythe. And then, those people, vote for things that are against poor people.
And see, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because the reason why I asked that is I am a very strong independent. I've always been a vocal I mean, I was fortunate to be raised in really not a political leaning household. Like, it was always okay, person over party. It's kind of like my motto. I've always been that kind of person. I voted for Democrats, I voted for Republicans. I teeter-tot now on a higher level. I've lean more on the left when it comes to certain races, but I'm very, very, very in the middle. I'm very in the middle. And I would ask that question because I always encourage the listeners here and viewers who are watching, if you are new to politics, do not lean to what's your friend saying or what's your parents saying
or what your family is saying.
Yeah, go with your gut with this, because at the end of the day, depending on society and certain media, different media outlets have their own agendas. Okay, I watch them all. I love the news. My wife can't stand the fact that I'm a news buff, but you get your your Fox News is always going to be right leaning. Your CNN's is going to be your left leaning. They're trying to be more neutral. MSNBC is very, very more left. News Nation is trying to be the neutral side, but sometimes I always got to count how many contributors. I'm like, okay, where they come, because they get a lot of people actually from Fox that come on to, or they have got quite a bit of people that's come from Fox, so they kind of have a lot of central in the middle individuals. But you just have to be, I want people to realize, like, okay, when you hear about issues happening, look, it's not always just issues happening on one side of the aisle. They're happening on both sides. I mean, that's just the way the world is. But like Nikia had mentioned,
I can give you an example. My husband and I were stationed in San Antonio during the 2008 election. Our house was a war zone. Wow. He was, of course, an Barack Obama supporter, and I was a Hillrod supporter. It was those fights of, oh, you just don't want to see a black president. I was like, no. It's like, you just don't want to see a female in office. He used to go on and back and forth and back and forth. And I remember one of his arguments was, I'm not going to vote because of race, but I just think it would be cool for your grandmother to be able to see the first black president. And I said, so you won't vote because of race, but then you're going to vote because of race by proxy. Like, what? And I was really lucky at that time. I worked for USAA. And when the primary was over and President Obama had succeeded in the primary, my main thing was, I don't know who you are. It wasn't that I felt that he was unqualified or anything like that. It's like, I don't know shit about you other than you gave a great speech at the DNC. So I read both of his books. And then I read John McCain's book, and I met John McCain.
Wow.
Because working for USAA has a Republican PAC.
Yeah.
And they invited all of the candidates for president to come to USAA to speak to our employee group. And the fact that they were able to pull that shows how much money USAA is worth.
Absolutely.
And I got a chance to speak to the late Senator McCain, and he was a nice guy. And so I still had made up my mind. And, to say that in a black family or around your non-white friends.
You sell out. You ain't vote for the brother.
You're crazy. What? Hold on, wait. I'm just telling you that I read a couple of books and I had made my mind up. What made my mind up was the VP nods. I could not in good conscience put Sarah Palin anywhere close to the White House.
and really, and a lot of people had said, honestly, because of that choice, it really screwed McCain, because really, it really, Lord have mercy. I remember, because and I just kind of, I was in 7th grade when Obama first was elected. I was in 7th grade, grade when he first elected.
Oh, wow.
I know I'm a baby. I'm a baby. I'm sorry to break it to y'all. The secret's out. The secret's out, y'all. But I'm an old soul, though. I'm an old soul.
I was 28. Damn. Woo!
I was in 7th grade, so I really wasn't too out. I started to get engaged as far as just learning politics, but I really wasn't too informed with the election. But I do remember going around, a lot of people, at least in my family, had wished that Obama had chose Hillary as his VP, because being how strong that that race between the two is, and then seeing the respect, they're like, Secretary of State, really? Like, VP probably would have made a little more noise, and you don't know what could have happened in the future. But a lot of people on the left still have respect, and always had respect for John McCain. He was a respectable guy. Like, I mean, that whole viral moment when he corrected the lady that was I think questioning Obama's citizenship, or said something negative about Obama, and that just showed you how of a class act he was.
He was a downvote when Trump tried to overturn Obamacare. Like, that's right. You can't say, you want to talk about somebody who is a true patriot. And I'm not talking about patriot in the abusive MAGA way. But that's a separate party right there. Yeah. But a true patriot, this man chose to not leave his crew when he was being held in captivity.
Ass was getting beaten. Like, I didn't have the opportunity that you had to meet him, but I did get to visit the prison that he was held in, and seeing that prison really just like it's insane. Like, I mean, he was very blessed to live a long life after that. But I mean, like,
and a man true to service, he represented his constituents, and they loved him for that.
Yeah.
And so did I agree with everything that John McCain did while he was, a politician? No. But I respect the man.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has changed and morphed since, the colossal bunch of fuckery that what is Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's the thing too. And it kind of goes back to why I consider myself in the middle, because we don't agree on every single thing either party. Like, it's very rare for somebody to say, look, I agree with every single thing they stand for, regardless of what party you're on. They would find 2 to maybe 3 things that, okay, boom, that's all I need to know, I'm good. But that's not the case. That shouldn't be the case. Like, one side will be like, okay, I'm voting for this person because they're big on guns. I'm gonna vote for this person because they're big on I don't know, they're big with this movement that is protesting at the moment right now. It's back and forth. It is back and forth, and it's a lot. It's very vicious. We're gonna move on from your city, Nikia. I'm gonna take it to Chesapeake, my city, because I think this is probably the biggest election for the city of Chesapeake that I have seen in my lifetime, because we have finally we have an incumbent, a person that wants to run for mayor. We have, I believe, three to four candidates. I'm sorry, 3 candidates running for city council, and then 4 running for school board. But I've been very involved and very vocal on who I'm backing and supporting for in Chesapeake. Don Carey has been a dear friend of mine for a long time.
Yeah, I really like him.
I've always been a fan. I was supporting him when he was running. He had ran for he was running for the primaries for state delegate. That was back when he was technically a registered Republican. I was still very supportive of Don. always
Yeah,
been, still to this
he's a
day.
really,
Um,
really, really nice
Les
guy.
Smith is a dear friend of mine as well. He's running for council. He is a he's been running for quite some time. I think this is not his second or third attempt. I think
Yeah.
this might be his fourth or fifth. But what I do love, and I've had to interview him before on a radio show I used to host some months and months ago. I asked him, usually after 3 strikes, you're out. Like, why continue to pursue it? But he's very passionate about his community, and it's like, look, if I show the people that I'm giving up, what am I promoting? Right? I can't do that. You need to be a voice. I mean, that's just like, so I'm very, very, trying to help. I'm very involved with helping him with his my office. We hosted a small social meet and greet for him. I hope to do one with Don as well. What's your take? I'll start with the mayoral race, because that kind of made headlines on the local papers when Don Kerry, who was initially technically a registered Republican, switched parties and now a Democrat, and he's running for the mayor's seat. What's your take on just that race alone and just the circumstances happening with that?
I like Don. Like, I want Don to win. And let me explain to you why. In order to succeed in public elections in Chesapeake, it's important that you be able to have a crossover appeal.
Yeah.
Don has that crossover appeal. And his position in making a change to his party is really no different than when Elaine Luria did the exact same thing to run against Scott Taylor. I specifically remember being at an event at the Wyndham in Virginia Beach. And it was a debate between both candidates. And Scott Taylor, being smug, was like, well, you supported me in my last campaign. And Elaine's response was, well, you did so bad that I had to switch parties to run against you. And
ouch.
Like, I was just like, burn. And
you see that right there on the floor? Yeah, that's your face, sir.
Yeah,
Somebody
that's your face.
Pick that up.
Yeah. And Don, I feel, has that crossover appeal in Chesapeake. And I think that because he's been on the council, they already know that he's willing to listen. And that is going to be really important for an at-large candidate.
Yeah.
For mayor to really tap into.
Yeah.
Because Rick West is trash. But I would love to move to council though. I don't have, like a top 3 in that. I literally have one. And that's Les.
Wow.
Les is a public servant who cares about his community, cares about his faith, and cares about seeing the city of Chesapeake succeed.
Wow.
And he should have been on council a long fucking time ago. But he had the May election cycle against him. And this is the first election cycle where the majority of the state is going to be voting for local elections in a presidential election term. Because before, at least in Hampton and in Chesapeake, because the legislation to change that to where local elections fall in November was actually an initiative that was championed by Dave Washington, who's the current Chesapeake Democratic Committee chair.
Yep.
So this is that cycle that's going to provide what I call year 4, where you can see the local elections at the same time as the presidential, and then you'll see where that uptick in voter participation, because it's a presidential election, how things will lay.
Okay.
But
okay.
if, like, I don't care, Democrat, Republican, Independent, you know, not interested in politics, whatever. Give Don your vote and give Les your vote.
Wow, that is major, because it's one of the things why the Chesapeake elections is so major, because there's some tea spilling around. I'm not, this is not really a gossip show, but I'll just say this, because I've been at a few functions where a gentleman who was speaking had basically called an individual out. Didn't say any names, but he just said there is a person going by this, having this letter in front of his name, but he really is the opposite, and he is separating the party. And I'll speak a little bit. I'll speak a little bit with Nikia after the show.
I know.
And so it was so because of that individual, who was also he's working with a couple of the candidates running in Chesapeake as well, or representing them, working with them. This individual has been what's the word I'm looking for? He has been somewhat of a career politician. He's that person is no longer a politician, but been in office for a while, and it's unfortunate, because again, this is starting to spread within the local, as well as in different in really in different cities. And because I've been told from many people, and I hope to have all former politicians and people within, I hope to have those people on the show. But I just want to say there's a little bit of tea happening.
So
we got
I ain't one for gossip, but I am one for fact. Lionel Sproul got up in the middle of the endorsement meeting and tried to shut down Don Kerry. I can speak on that because I was there. It's not gossip, it's fact. And I was in attendance.
Wow.
Then the kickoff meetings for Pat King and for Malia Huddle, his name was on the advertisement the same size as the candidates. And that is some smug, egotistical bullshit, if I have not seen it in my life. And if former Senator Sproul hears that, I said what I said. The stuff that's just happening, like, ever since he lost to Senator Lucas, has just been insane. There has been conversation that the main reason that former Senator Sproul has beef with Don Kerry is because Councilman Kerry asked questions about the amount of money that former Senator Sproul was receiving as a member of the board at Chesapeake Regional Hospital. Because Senator Sproul gets paid to be on the board. But he was getting additional monetization that Councilman Kerry questioned before that, anything happened with his term continuing through the city.
Wow.
So there's that. I do have a school board pick. I like Reagan Davis. I like him. He was on the he was the
Well, I think
Chesapeake.
Reagan actually is running for council. He might be moving
No,
on.
Reagan. I think Reagan is school board.
Is he school
Hold
board?
on,
Okay, hold on. Look, we gonna fact check right now, y'all.
I
This
love that.
live. This
I
live.
love that Conrad posted the flyer.
Let me
Oh,
see.
then yeah, he is running for council.
It
Shit,
is okay. So I think
then I got two for council. Then I got dos.
So I think he did run for school board before, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know he's in education. He's I think he was like a teacher of the year.
He was teacher of the year.
Yeah, so he's big on
Middle.
education. He's big on
Yeah.
education, and I had the opportunity to meet him once at a meeting. I want to have him on the show too. I want to have a bunch of candidates. I even want to have the former senator, because again, I go from all I'm at all events, okay, on both sides, and stuff circulates. I'm like, okay, look, I'm just that person where I want to have a conversation with the individual, myself, and I hope to speak with the former senator, state senator. But it is to kind of backtrack with the mayoral race. Don was, and it was funny because I teased him. I'm like, look, Don, it looks like the Chesapeake Dems, they didn't like you when you were a registered Republican. They don't like you because you flip flop. But right now, look, you the pick. And I think honestly, he has proven to them that he is their guy and that he's the right person, because even when Don was in council, when he first was, Don was always always great partnership with like Dr. Ella Ward, who's been a councilwoman she's been a councilwoman for almost 18 years, maybe. I mean, she's been off for a long time, and maybe 15, something like that. But he's always looked out for his people, and I think people always get it misconstrued, because when you hear the word conservative doesn't mean Republican. Okay, there's conservative liberals, there's liberal conservative, there's liberal Republican. Like, this conservative circulates. Everybody has a bit. I have a bit of conservative in me, but it's like I don't align with one party. So I get it that it's gonna be, it's gonna be difficult for Don to still it's gonna be hard for him to really get the trust of, say, the strong left-leaning voters in the city of Chesapeake. But I just think that, and I have no dislike with I don't agree with a lot of current Mayor West. I've met him, had the opportunity to meet him a couple times. Really nice guy. Actually, I'm good friends with his daughter, and so I've known him for quite a minute. But it's just, I'm big on new leadership. I see a lot of issues happening within Chesapeake, and because of that, it's like, okay, you need some new faces. And on top of that, we have a very unbalanced council. Out of 9 people in city council, we now have 2 Democrats, but initially we had 1, and that was Dr. Ella Ward. There's absolutely no Democrat on school board, and I don't think a council should be like that. You have to have a balance, because all of Chesapeake doesn't just go red or doesn't just go blue. It's a mixture. So you have to cater to the to majority of the residents. But yeah, I mean, I'm team Don. Shout out to my girl Melissa, because I remember y'all had a conversation on another show, Shez Who. Shout out to Conrad too, because I love Melissa. But I wasn't too in agreement with her, how she felt about Don. And I mean, I'm like, okay, I gotta maybe have her on the show and we could talk more about that. But in all honesty though, Don is it's gonna be a hard election, obviously, because Chesapeake is and I'll say this as a resident, Chesapeake to me has always been more of a red city. Is very, is the money is there. It's not a lot of minorities with money, and it's you got to be careful. But it's going to be a hard race. But I think at least on the Democratic ticket they have some good names, and even on the Republican ticket they have some new names. Which they have a gentleman, which I hope to interview him on the show. He's running for council, Eric Ray, I believe his name is. He ran for council in 2020 in Virginia Beach against Sabrina Wooten. And I thought it was interesting when I saw his name for city council out here in Chesapeake. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't he run at a different city? So I'm curious of that, but I think the rule has it is if you are what is it? I think at least one, if you live in the city at least a year or some change, you can run for. I have to look more into that, but and I don't know.
Yes, you have to live in the district that you're running in. So if you're voting, if your election is at large, and you have to live in the city, I think for a year. I think you're right.
Okay. I'm still
right. I've never had that issue.
It's just interesting, but no, it's a big election. The city is very driven hard with the local GOP. They have the money, obviously, when it comes to campaigning, the donors and all and whatnot. But we have that election happening in Chesapeake. I'm aware in Norfolk that Mayor Kenny Alexander has somebody running against him as well.
Yeah, I thought that he had a challenger.
He sure did. Thomas Leland. Hold on, I think I wrote his name somewhere on my notes, but he has a challenger. Where's my notes at? Oh, here we go. Yes, Thomas Lehman. He's running for mayor out there in Virginia and in Norfolk. What has been your take on Kenny Alexander?
He's the most pompous individual I've ever met in my life. Oh. But he's brought money to the city of Norfolk. And that is what's going to put him through. Because that man literally was willing to kiss the ass of Ben Carson in order to bring money into Norfolk.
Wow.
Like, I still remember in the 2020 election cycle, right? Joe Biden, it was one of the last events that he did as a candidate before COVID. Had people lined up down Princess Sand to get into Booker T to see him speak. Kenny didn't even have enough respect for at that time, Vice President Biden, to come greet this man. Because he was so far up Michael Bloomberg's rear end that he could see his nose hairs. But Kenny is willing to risk it all to bring money into the city of Norfolk.
And it has been some new developments in store for Norfolk. Money happening, and that is very true. That is very true. You also have some council races up for grabs there. I'm gonna kind of move it on to Virginia Beach, and then I wanted to talk on some higher office elections, Nikia, if that's okay. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We will come back. We'll have more here with political strategist and branding strategist, Miss Nikia Miller. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here on the Arrington Gavin Show. All right, family, we are back here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I am joined with the lovely Miss Nikia Miller. We're having an awesome conversation talking on local elections in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. So we stopped off by wanting to talk about the city of Virginia Beach, because Virginia Beach is having a huge mayoral race. I believe they have about 5. Well, on VPAP, it shows 6 candidates. There's a gentleman, Justin Burns, but who I'm a little unfamiliar with out in Virginia Beach, but I'm aware of like publicly of the 5. We have current mayor Bobby Dyer. You have former Councilman John Moss, who's running. You have Councilman Chris Taylor. You have Councilwoman Sabrina Wooten, and now newly entered into the race, you have former state delegate Cheryl Turpin, who's now running for mayor as well. I see the head shaking. I see the head shaking, Nikia. You know I can't stop you, so please, if you know
this shit. Before I start, if you want Nikia's pick, it's Sabrina Wooten.
Mm-hmm.
She knows how to work on both sides, and she still does what she says she's gonna do, regardless. She represents Virginia Beach as a whole, and I like her for this seat. A lot of people have a opinion of Bobby Dyer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not my cup of tea, but at the last event where President Biden was in town, I did prefer the fact that Bobby Dyer photobombed my mayor's photo so that Donnie the Tuck couldn't be seen. So that's a redeeming grace for, Bobby Dyer. But my pick is Sabrina. My non-pick is Chris Taylor. Like, if you want my opinion of Chris Taylor, it's just say no. Just say no. Because he doesn't, ego central. He had an event at the Mocha where like 4 people showed up, and he used city council dollars to host it. Oh, did I say that? Hold on, let me back up. The Virginia Beach City Council had an event at the Mocha that Chris Taylor shared as an opportunity for his campaign. So there's that. But yeah, I like Sabrina.
Okay. Any thoughts on former Councilman John Moss? Any?
Not really. I just don't think he's a factor against Sabrina.
Okay.
I mean, you can, he's not a factor.
And lastly, former state delegate Cheryl Turpin. Now, after she those of you who are hearing me chuckle, if you're listening and you hear me chuckle, is because I'm laughing at the reaction of Nikia after I say these names, by the way. So former state delegate Cheryl Turpin, after she served on as a delegate, I know she ran for state senator. At that time it was against Jen Kiggins and lost, and then she ran for council, and then I know she dropped out of the race. That was later on, so now she's running for mayor. I had the opportunity to, she made the announcement on my show, and made the announcement that she was running, which I'll just say this, a lot of my, and I say this all the time, y'all, I'm friends with everybody, and my friends in some of my circles are not the biggest fans of Cheryl. Now, this was my first interaction with former delegate Turpin. Sweet lady. She came to one of my events, and again, just my interaction with her was, nothing rude or
Oh
anything.
yeah, Cheryl and I know each other, and my roll of the eyes is the timing. Because Cheryl's aware that her coming into this race is going to split the vote. And if she cares about Virginia Beach the way that she says she does, then she needs to bow out.
And you bring a great kind of new topic that's that is not new, but at least to voters and having that wants to have more of an understanding in politics. When you mean by split the vote, and you're saying she arrived in late, so this election really was publicized like months and months, like last year. Like everybody knew about the mayor last year, and she had made the announcement maybe a month ago, maybe around a month ago,
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then
it's super new.
Yeah, and then the race will be the results will come in November, which is not too far away, y'all. So when Nikia mentions, she arrived in late, which yes, she did, and I actually I would say that it is a little it's a suspect when you enter in a race late, because you can't assume that, okay, I have the win, so I can arrive at this. You know what I mean? Like no candidate, even if they're a long-standing, very familiar, very a fan favorite, it still will be like, what? So it is odd. And then on top of that, when you say splitting the vote, now are you speaking on, because it's public information? She's a registered Democrat. Sabrina Wooten has been an unapologetically, Democrat. So when you mention split the vote, because the rest of the candidates are registered Republicans. So you're saying splitting the vote amongst, on that Democrat.
Yep, splitting the vote between Democrats, because you're going to have that population of people who are going to vote for Sabrina, and then you've got those people who are Cheryl Turpin loyalists, and I just wonder who's advising Cheryl, because it just sounds to me like she's still using the individual who advised her to not seek her delegate seat and run for state senate. Like nobody understood that. Like she just had an election less than, what was it, a year? No, it was 2 years later.
It was like, I think it was 2020, maybe 2021, something like that.
Yeah, it was 2021. Because it was Youngkin's year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just not being well advised,
And I want to ask, I kind of want to go back to Chris. Chris is the guy, I had the opportunity to interview Chris when he was running for council, and he was kind of looked upon as a long shot candidate when he ran for council. He did end up winning, and I've been very pretty, not really just very, very vocal, but I've just shared on the podcast before and within conversations with Conrad. I do understand when certain individuals has like high political stock value, but when it comes to, okay, you're still fairly fresh in the game, in office. I mean, I think it's been maybe a year and some months of him as a councilman. I just think it's a little too soon to run for office. But I mean, you can also, but couldn't you also, Nikia, somewhat have respect for a person that says, okay, look, I'm in here, right? If my all-time goal was to serve a higher office, my goal is here, but I realize, that seat, high leadership right now is trash, and I gotta do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, can't you somewhat give kind of the respect where credit is due in that case, as far as like, okay, he's wanting to continue to climb, or as a strategist, I'll ask as a strategist, like, what would you, if you were representing this individual, what would you say?
Okay. I'm going to give you my professional opinions of
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to give you my personal feelings.
Okay.
I think it's admirable
Mm-hmm.
when people want to take the next steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they see that the environment that they're in, that they're looking at, is a big fat dumpster fire,
Mm-hmm.
and decide, you know what, I want to do this for the good of my city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a person that embodies that
Mm-hmm.
is Vernon Tillage in Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. Mm-hmm.
If anyone here is a young politician trying to learn how to be a good politician and community activist and advocate, follow Vernon Tillage's Facebook page. He is a friend, and I respect him. I respect him for coming off with the Portsmouth School Board to fix the catastrophe that was Portsmouth.
Woo, that you said it. Catastrophe is a good word to consider the. Woo.
It was a reality show. You think it's crazy, but you just couldn't turn away. You know, admittedly, that whole session area made, it gave me a chance to really get to know Lisa Lucasberg and Shannon Glover as leaders in their communities. But yeah, Portsmouth was a catastrophe.
And it still is a work in progress. It definitely still is a work in progress.
No.
Yeah.
It's not the same brouhaha than it was. But the only way to remove the individuals that were causing the brouhaha is to not vote DeAndre Barnes back into another term. And I'll say that so the people in the back can hear me. Don't vote for DeAndre Barnes. Because he was part of that whole nasty ridiculousness that occurred in Portsmouth. And so did, what's his name? Whitaker? Or did he get voted out? Because it was Battle, Whitaker, Woodard, and Barnes. And Battle and Woodard lost 2 years ago. So yeah, it's him and Dr. Whitaker. Yep. Say no.
Say, look, Nikia gonna have to. You gotta put that in a t-shirt because she definitely when we're gonna look for our picks, we're gonna ask Nikia, and Nikia gonna be like,
well,
moving on.
Before we move on to other races outside of the Commonwealth, I do have an announcement.
Okay.
It's an exclusive. In Hampton, one of the candidates for city council is a really outspoken voice in the Hampton Roads community, lifelong Hampton resident, military spouse, and just downright badass individual. So I am running for council in Hampton.
Okay, so look, y'all heard it here, an exclusive, baby. Nikia Miller has entered the race for Hampton City Council. Wow, Nikia. Wow. Yep. Wow.
I've been toying with it.
Wow.
But I decided that I was going to back away and that I was going to spend this year just doing other things. Then I got a phone call that pissed me off.
Wow.
From a parent in Hampton City Schools. And it led me to my decision.
Wow.
So I'll be in that race. My Facebook is Nikia, Nikia, Miller, Miller. Feel free to follow me. I am revamping my Facebook page for the campaign. But for now, feel free to go to Nikia Miller on Facebook.
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
I just literally, I started signatures today.
Wow. 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 Look, first of all, y'all, I was unaware of this. I'm over here.
You
I
was.
will pop some bottles, right? But it's a little early during the day. You know what I mean? I still got to go home. I'm trying to encourage no drinking and driving. Always have a recommended driver.
Some gin. How you?
Oh yeah, you definitely go. Matter of fact, you might have to get the bottle. You might have to need the bottle now.
I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. That is wow. Yeah. One thing, Nikia, I'll always, give credit to people who take the effort to running for office, because I tell a lot of people it's easy to complain. Like, it's so easy to complain. That's stress free. But when they say, okay, what are you going to do about it? Shout out to the late great the Black Eagle, Mr. Joe Madison. He used to always say on his radio show, when people would call with the complaint things, that he's like, okay, what are you gonna do about it? And they're silent. Right. It's like, okay, get off my line now. It's just like it's like a broken record, right? We can always complain, but we never put the effort into it. That's why I'm I'm a huge advocate when it comes to voting, right? Because you cannot be a non-voter and be a complainer at the same time. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Put your money where your mouth is. But that is wow. That's huge news. That's huge. All right, that is huge news.
Well, if anybody is listening in Hampton and you want to come find me, I'll be at Target starting at 10 in the parking lot. Please come through and sign my petitions.
Wow.
But just to I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of the incumbents with Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
None of the incumbents, and that includes the ones that are not up for re-election this cycle, gave 0.2 of a damn to put the Cody alert in place. In honor of 4-year-old Cody Bigsby. None of them.
Wow.
We had to push the Cody alert to the General Assembly.
And I didn't mean to cut you off, Nikia, but for those who are tuning in and listening that are not from the Hampton Roads area, the Cody Bigsby, the Cody alert was named after a child who, since then, they have not found his body. Nope. But I know his father was sentenced, yes, which was it's very, very unfortunate. The fact that a person that helped bring you into this world is the person charged with it's extremely sad. And it was a long going investigation here in Hampton Roads. It even made, I believe, national news as well.
It made national news. Yep.
Yeah, it made national news. So which what Nikia is speaking on, the Cody alert is to mainly help up, hopefully it will never happen to another child, but it's an alert that will be, if correct me if I'm wrong, Nikia, but if a child goes missing, they will put out the Cody alert, and then they would start the search for that individual.
Yeah, it's what the Cody alert does that the Amber alert doesn't, is that it gives it provides a way to send an alert out when a child goes missing that's not attached to a child abduction.
I got you. Okay.
Because an Amber alert is only for a child abduction.
I got you.
But they were really just obstinate when it came towards, even lifting a hand for the dealer. Like,
Wow.
none of them did it. And it took local activists with BLM, Jafari Jones, and the rest of us to get it passed.
Wow.
And I think that in itself should disqualify all three of them. Well, all four if you include the mayoral candidate.
Wow. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
And just the fact that kids in the city of Hampton don't have anything to do. Our incumbents, one is Hope Harper. She's extra. Chris Bowman, which anybody who's paid attention to Hampton news, is the guy who charged the prostitute that he hired with extortion. Oh yeah. Sex lies and cell phones in the city of Hampton. And then Billy Hobbs, I really don't have that much of an opinion about him. But yeah, sex lies and cell phones.
Wow.
Like what was on there, and Chris and I have a good relationship, but there was just a point. I heard you, Warren. Move. I'm sorry.
Miss Nikia Miller holds many hats as well as a mother,
including mom to an 8-year-old boy who ain't listening to me. But yeah, Hampton is its own soap opera.
Well, look, we're coming. I'm running a little short on time, but I want to real quickly go over some higher elections occurring. So, there, Congresswoman Jen Kiggins, her seat is up for re-election. There is a challenger, Missy. Remind me on her last name.
Missy Carter Smazel.
Missy, look, say that last name 5 times, y'all, for those who are listening. And Missy Carter Smazel. Misty Carter Smiles. And now she is I would say a newcomer to higher office as well. Am I correct? She's a name that is
the Virginia Beach City Council, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, she I know a little bit about her. But the little bit I do know about her, I like, and I definitely don't like Jen Kiggins.
Well, do you see this as being, a win for Jen Kiggins? I mean, I hate to kind of speak it already ahead, but I mean, do you see this being this is not an easy win, but do you see this as a win for her, or do you see this as really a hard race for the incumbent Congresswoman Jen Kiggins? Do you see it more?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. Virginia Beach is one of those nuts that's really hard to crack.
Okay.
Because different people have different theories about how to gain the urban vote in Virginia Beach. Because when they redrew the 3rd congressional district, they made the 3rd more Democrat and the 2nd more Republican.
Okay, because the second is Jen Kiggins through district. Okay, because see, in in Chesapeake, she received all of Chesapeake, and best believe all of Chesapeake was not leaning towards Elaine Laurie. that I will say it was not. I could, David Washington, who's a good friend of mine, he probably will correct me and say it was
that's my brother.
mostly. Yeah, it probably was mostly blue on that one, but I felt like that was kind of like an easy win for Jen Kiggins. if in garnering the city of Chesapeake. But yeah.
Actually, and you gotta also remember that Chesapeake split.
That's right. That's right.
Urban Chesapeake is in the third. Hickory
is in the second. Yeah.
And then the second congressional district also includes Franklin and Suffolk and Isle of Wight. It's just a funky drawn district. But Virginia Beach might surprise you though. Because if voter participation, like in Kelly Fowler's district, or just those urban centers and blue collar areas, of Virginia Beach, if voter participation there is elevated,
then it'll be something to mess with now. Okay.
Missy may be able to pull this out.
That'll be interesting.
But it's a population game. It's a population game, in my opinion. Other people might have different views, but if I was Missy's consultant, I would tell her to really hit urban Virginia Beach. Like,
people underestimate the black vote, man. People underestimate the power of the black vote.
Right. They take it for granted.
They take it for granted. They do. You're absolutely right. Take
it for granted. And, if she's able to concentrate in, like, Indian River, all of HD 96, then Missy might pull this out. But it's about percentage of voter turnout. And, I think that if those niche groups that will attach themselves to the candidates that actually show that they care about them, the 18 to 25 vote, the returning citizen vote, this can be a whole nother conversation.
That's interesting. Yeah. Final two. Congressman Bobby Scott. Bobby been in office for a long time.
Oh my God.
Hey, but let's be honest though. Let's be honest. Bobby moisturized because Bobby don't ever age. Bobby Loki still look the same.
Listen,
and Bobby will be from point A to point B. I'm like, how did he get there so fast?
How'd you?
Right. I'm definitely stuck that he's cloned. I know he is. He got to be cloned. I'm pretty sure he has a clone that sits in all different 7 cities because I'm like, Bobby is everywhere. That is me, and I'm sticking to it. I said it here.
Yeah,
Bobby is cloned, but he's been a long-standing community favorite. Everybody. I mean, he really has. I've never really heard anybody say negative things besides, I guess, people that are mostly on the other side of the aisle. But there's never been a lot of people that said, "Oh no." But also, I feel as though Bobby never really had like strong challengers either. But you think so? Okay.
So let's back up to his last election.
Okay. Against is it Terry something? Terry Namcom.
Terry didn't win, but Terry got more votes than most people got against Bobby Scott.
Why do you think that he received those more votes than expected?
Because, all right, I might lose my Black Dem card for making a statement. It's just gonna have to be what it is.
It is what it is.
Bobby is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's there, he has his seat of authority.
Mm-hmm.
You can see him at any football game you go to that is at Norfolk State or at Hampton University.
Mm-hmm.
Wave, smile. You know, the one thing that the man absolutely has going for him is that he has to have body doubles. Like I don't. It can't be anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, getting an audience with Congressman Scott
Mm-hmm.
is very difficult if you don't pander to the people around him.
Mm-hmm.
People like Galen Canoy.
Mm-hmm.
People like Mamie Locke. And I think that it's not a good or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had to catch Congressman Scott off guard at a breakfast event
Mm-hmm.
to get an answer from him on my attempts to speak to him about what happened to my daughter for the last 4 years.
Wow.
And when you talk to people, they're like, oh, we love Bobby Scott. You know what? Yeah, because you see him all the time. But if you look at his legislation, it's not as impressive as you might think. And I think that people are starting to see that because there is a growing contingent of people that are looking for somebody to vote for other than Robert C. Scott. And because there's normally not a challenger that, stirs up any, anything extra from that, he treats them like they don't exist. Terry is the first person that I ever have seen Bobby Scott even acknowledge on the Republican side. Because you had two black and Asian candidates. Congressman Scott is black and Filipino. Yep. Terry is black and Korean.
Yep.
But Terry, I don't think people had a chance to get to know him.
Because it was like the shield of, well, Bobby Scott, the name, right. We already got it in place, keep it moving. And I will say, and I've met Congressman Scott at many functions, and again, very very approachable.
Yeah.
Within events and things like that. I've never had the opportunity to speak just one-on-one like that, but he's a person that I don't see ever like ever retiring soon. Now, Bobby, to my knowledge, is like 76, 77 years old.
Right.
I'm a huge advocate for new leadership. And it's just me personally, I just don't think a politician should continue office after 71, 72. Regardless if they're fresh, if they're very smart, if they're very like fresh-minded, in shape. I just think that at 72, it's time to, and that goes for somebody that just entered into office. I mean, that's just always been something I've been stuck with. Like, okay, 72, I think you need to keep it moving for younger leadership.
You can't legally do that, but because that is a whole violation of labor law.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tend to agree.
It's and the reason why I say that, Nikia, is just because, I mean, one thing that pushes people away from politics now is that when they turn to, again, they look at higher office, they look at House and Senate.
Right.
How many people is 88, 89? Hell, how many people do we need to see lose it, like die in office? I mean, that's just the part that it's like, wow, we really are at this level. And I mean, if I believe you need someone that is in seniority to be a mentors, but it's like, okay, make room for the next mentor the next bunch of people in office and work your way to get some just some fresh new faces. But I mentioned Bobby Scott because he does have a challenger who is also very involved in the community, who is also very, very known in the community. Okay, has a fan base. This lady by the name of Rhoda Young. Let me tell you something. Now, I never met Miss Rhoda ever, but I will say she has done the damn thing when it comes to independent media. I mean, really, she has a following that is quite large. I might ask, quite large. And I'm just like,
you in front of Rhoda. I got to get you in front of Rhoda.
I gotta meet Rhoda. I gotta meet Rhoda. Because I'm just saying, like, she is a viral sensation. She is a viral sensation. She is a person that probably gets the news before CNN and all the
before anybody. Before anybody.
And it's not like she has a large staff of people either. Like, she is.
It's her. It's her and her truck and her car. Rhoda, man, you talking about the beat on the street.
But man, she's announced that she's running for Congress, and
she's running for Congress. And you know who's her backer? Terry Namcom.
Now, what's your take on that though? Because is that what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm trying to say this without being rude.
Is it serious?
Yes. It's like
it's serious.
It's like, it's not, to me, it's a bit unfair because Rhoda has never held any at least any political position, right? And then
she hasn't, but she's been in front of everybody.
She's been in you're absolutely right. She's been in front of everybody. You would think Terry would, I don't know, maybe run for re-election because he's only ran once or twice, I believe.
He's ran once, I think.
Okay, so just that one time. Yeah. So it's like, why say, okay, look, I'm gonna find somebody to run against him, and it's like, I'm very curious on what's his strategy. What's the I don't know, like, because it's when I first heard that she was running, I was like, Rhoda Young. I'm like, wait a minute, Rhoda Young running for and then she made it. I'm like,
you should have seen my reaction because I didn't see the live. I got a text message from Terry.
Wow.
And I watched it and I wrote him back. I said, say word. And he called me immediately. And I was like, is this real? And he said, yeah, it's real. And but you know what? Tell me why I was in front of Target today getting signatures for Rhoda.
And I have my question to ask you, Nikia, but I want to bring up that this could be call me crazy, but this could be, y'all, the transition from having potentially the voices that you want to see in Congress. I mean, just think about it, because like I remember watching a documentary when AOC first was running for office, right? Didn't held any position, and great documentary, by the way. Like, she was it showed her,
she was a bartender.
She showed her from the beginning stages to foots on the ground to showing up to debates, and it was like boom, boom, bop, bop, bop. And so this could literally be another like unknown name you never thought had it coming. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, could you imagine Rhoda in Congress going head to head with with the like
Man,
a
she
Marjorie
said,
Taylor
yeah.
Greene or something. I'm just
Yo,
saying, like,
I would drive to DC to watch that. Like, I would have to see it live. And you know,
oh man,
Rhoda and I have been friends for several years.
wow,
She was one of the first people that ever covered my daughter's story. I have mad love for Rhoda. You know, now we've had our disagreements on process sometimes, but Rhoda is one of those individuals that has a big heart and a love for her community, and she's transparent. She's willing to learn. Rhoda might surprise you, yo.
I was about to say, do you see her as a wild card? Do you see her as
I see her as a wild card because Rhoda is able to reach those people that Bobby Scott can't.
Whoa. And those are now she has to get them, because I'm assuming that the people that Bobby can are also people that might not even be voters in general. You know what I mean? Like, are they part of like the low voting turnout?
They are. They are because they don't see anybody that looks like them, that speaks like them,
that can relate to them.
That can relate to them. You know, can you imagine the returning citizen count that we're to get?
Now, do we know? Are you aware of which? Well, no, we were saying, Nikia, I'm sorry.
People who might have just got out of jail on a felony, but can register to vote, have had their rights restored.
So now, what is she running as? Is she running as an independent? Independent? Okay.
Yep. Because, of course, Bobby Scott is the Democratic candidate. Sitka is the Republican candidate.
Who was that last name you said? I'm sorry.
Sitka. John Sitka.
Okay.
He's based in Norfolk.
Okay.
And then the independent candidate is Rhoda.
Wow.
And you know, anytime that I talk about Rhoda's candidacy, you know, of course, you know, the first response from everybody is to giggle a little bit. You know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, people's response, I mean, it's no different than people's response to Trump when
absolutely
he was gonna run, just the opposite way, you know. Now you got these people who are seeing Rhoda Young live that are donating.
Rhoda Young live, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. You got people seeing Rhoda Young live that are donating.
And that's really big too, because I was gonna ask, is it you know, obviously money is always an important factor in campaigns, nor do I think I don't think money wins elections personally, but I do understand it being an important factor within campaigns, because in order to get the message out there, that does cost, right? TV ads, newspapers, the whole 9 yards is very, you know, it's very big to get that message across. But the fact that, you know, she's getting, you know, there are people that are donating, she's hitting communities that most candidates probably can't. And I think that won't. And I think too, the wild card factor with her is just the fact that people vote on who is very relatable. I think it's always going to be difficult for a career politician. And I mean, again, I don't know Bobby Scott personally. He could be a very relatable guy, but from the outside looking in, a person will say, okay, sir, you've been in office for a very long time. So in my opinion, you're a career politician. I just think that there's some people that mean well, and I understand that it takes time in order to get certain rules taken care of. But when you start holding office for well amount of years, I think it's just and that's where, you know, it's a frustration on the presidential race. I mean, let's be honest, Joe Biden was the almighty replacement. All we needed to get was to get Trump out of office. That was everybody's main thing, to get Trump out of office. So they said, okay, boom, Joe in there, he gonna do his one term, then he gonna be out, and somebody's gonna be next. Then Joe like, well, I'm a referee election. Everybody's like, what? Wait a minute, Joe. Wait a minute, Joe. I thought you said you just gonna do a one and done. So that's why it's such a hard issue right now on the presidential race. Which I mean, that'll be another conversation for another day. But lastly, Nikia, before we let you go, State Senator Aaron Rouse, he is running for lieutenant governor, and it's getting kind of. I think it's going to be a pretty aggressive race because Mayor Stoney out of Richmond, who initially was going to run for governor, had dropped out of that race to run for lieutenant governor. So, and I remember when Mayor Stoney was running on the campaign trail for Aaron Rouse when he was running for state senator. I guess running after he won the special election, but he was running for state senator and in the new district. And so, what's your take on this race? What's your take on? Because I think Aaron Rouse, State Senator Aaron Rouse, is an individual who I believe that has high political stock. Now, just high political stock. He hasn't been a mayor for a long, but what's your take on this whole thing?
All right, so let's first set the stage. Abigail Spanberger is running for governor.
Yes,
as a Democrat. The discussion on the other side is Winsome is going to run for governor.
Well, Winsome Sears, who's current lieutenant governor right now, which is kind of like, it's not unpredictable for a lieutenant governor to say, okay, look, I'm gonna take a jab at running for
governor, right? Because Youngkin can't run again. I
don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to at this point. He can't. He vetoes everything. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Virginia governors are one and done, dumbest shit on earth. But it is what it is in the good old Commonwealth. So you got Spanberger and Winsome Sears. That's governor. Republican side for LG. Their Republicans are dangling the carrot for lieutenant governor in front of Delegate AC Cordoza's face.
Wow.
And
he's a state delegate that actually represents Hampton. Yes,
works his ass off. Who works his ass off.
I had the opportunity. I want to have the opportunity to interview him because a long time ago, I had opportunity to attend a breakfast, and it was his table was hosting it. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, look, you want to?" I never came because I was like, "Hey, it was last minute." I'm like, "I'm in Chesapeake. You want me to go up to Richmond?" I'm gonna pass on this one, but thanks so much for the invite. But yeah.
Send him a message on Facebook. He'll answer.
I definitely will. And that's one thing I do enjoy when it comes to politicians that are very quick, like just relatable with messaging and contact stuff. That's the worst thing, to contact somebody and it's been like months in advance, or like you had mentioned earlier before, 4 years to get in contact with some people. So that's so you're saying, okay, so he's been at least spoken of potentially trying to run for lieutenant governor on the Republican side. Wow.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. They're dangling that carrot.
Wow.
But the question is he going to take it and run? And then the variable also becomes, well, I'll discuss that in a minute. Democrats. Talk about premature each. You know where I was going. We ain't even straight in local races. But they're campaigning for LG and getting endorsements and all of this now. Like, I don't want to hear shit about state races until November the 6th.
Now, to kind of play a little bit of devil's advocate, Nikia, wouldn't it? I mean, again, the strategy wise is to bring awareness of it so that it's not like, okay, they're not too late to get those, like, you know what I mean? Like, isn't sometimes the earlier the better for campaign races, at least to get, to get the word out, get the message out. But you make a great point, because you're saying is for how important these local races are, why not do the homework and just get involved in helping these local candidates get these seats? Then just say, okay, once that starts, start talking within November, because all eyes is in November right now. All eyes and attention
all
is on
eyes
November.
is on November, right? November 5th, November 6th. I'll be glad to talk about LG and governor and attorney general and all of that. But if you're not willing, because they've already announced their candidacies, LeVar Stoney has a record that he can really speak on as being an executive leadership in Richmond. But that also has led to some people who might disagree with, some of the things that he's done politically, with the DPBA or whatever. But any candidate who's had time to have a record is going to have those people who are going to be detractors because they're just who they are. Aaron, I like Aaron. I like his wife even more, because Jen is awesome people. But I think that this was too early. He hasn't even finished an entire session with the Senate, because he won in a special and then he won his election this past cycle. He hasn't had a full session.
So it's just too soon.
Yeah, it's just too soon. It's just too soon. Be a senator. Be a senator and finish out your first term. Then we can have a conversation about you for LG. I'm leaning Stoney on this one. And it's no disrespect to Aaron.
Is it just on the experience level?
Yeah.
Honestly,
it's on the experience level. And like I said, I like Aaron. It's not his time. And I have some questions about some personnel decisions that he's made on his Senate staff. Because I think that he made a hire that was super ill-advised. Because legislation is different than campaigning.
Very true.
And right now, what Aaron needs to do is pay his dues to the local elections. He's in Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is hot right now. Stop chasing endorsements and serve the people of your city. And help get a diverse electorate for the citizens of Virginia Beach.
Well said, my friend. Well said. That's why, y'all, I'm so excited to have Nikia on, and she's not going to be a stranger to the show.
Never.
Always invited, because there's more. Like I said, we could have talked for days. I'm looking at the time. We definitely could have talked for days, but want to have you back on, and also again bring back the news that you mentioned earlier in the show, the fact that you are running for Hampton City Council, which was major news. It was an exclusive here on the Arrington Gavin show. So honored that you made that announcement here on the program. It was a surprise to me, and best of luck to you on your campaign. I know your heart. You're very passionate about your community. You mean what you say, and you back it up 110%. I've always respected your views and opinions when it comes to local politics, as well as on a state level and a federal level as well. again, how can people continue to support you? How can people just follow up all the stuff you have coming forward, especially at, with your campaign, you making your announcement now. So how can people continue to support Miss Nikia Miller?
Well, my daily chaos blog is She Speaks Politics, all one word. You can definitely see some of my snarky political commentary on that blog. On Facebook, I'm at Nikia Miller. On Instagram, I'm at ITS simply SIMPLY Nikia NIKIA. And I'm always around. My email is simply Nikia@gmail.com. And that's how you can follow me. I'm gonna insert one last thing because I didn't cover AG. If Jason Miyares runs for re-election, then Republicans are not going to put forward a candidate. If he runs for LG, then AC is not going to run for lieutenant governor. The candidate, if Jason decides not to run at all, will be Senator Meeks. He is a senator based out of Lynchburg.
I was just about to say northern for more in the mountain areas. Yeah, so
he's based out of Lynchburg. He had a meet and greet with AC,
mainly Liberty University, because I'm pretty sure that university took over the state, the city of Lynchburg.
Most of it.
Most of it.
But Senator Meeks stated that if Jason decides to run for re-election, that he won't be running. So that race is still kind of, it's leaning on what the incumbents that are there choose to do.
Gotcha.
In state legislature. For Attorney General, it is a foregone conclusion that Jay Jones will be running for AG once again.
And he is. Yes, I was actually at a few events, and he's made that announcement.
Foregone conclusion. I mean, I knew that Jay was running for lieutenant governor again in 2001. So when he relocated, when he chose not to run for his delegate seat and resigned it, and Jackie Glass took that seat. He immediately moved to Northern Virginia to get that Northern Virginia money for his AG race. As well as take care of that beautiful little boy he has. But it's gonna be Jay and either Jason Miyares or Senator Meeks.
Well, look, that is awesome, Nikia. Look, don't go anywhere. I want to chop it up with you for just a few minutes right after the show. I know we took a lot of your time, but I truly appreciate you coming on the show. So look, y'all, I'm going to take again, Miss Nikia Miller. Please support. And look, don't go anywhere, Nikia. I'm going to go ahead and take her backstage. And y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this another great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show. That's what we do here on this program. We have great conversations. Sometimes, if I'm running solo, I'll speak on trending news, and it will, whether it's politics, entertainment, pop culture, sports, you name it, we talk about it here on the program. But I really hope you enjoyed this. I think, fun but informative conversation when it comes to local election, as well as just having an understanding on the importance of voting, why you should vote, why you should be very involved, what's going on in your backyard. Again, I hope y'all enjoy. Be sure to tune into the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. As I mentioned before, I have some great news coming forward. Within some some weeks, I'm gonna make a big announcement about that. Because hey, you might see this show on some airwaves in a higher market area. That's all I'm saying. You can already listen to us on multiple podcast platforms. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, Our Smooth Club Media, as well as on Rumble at the Arrington Gavin Show, Facebook at Our Smooth Club Podcast, as well as XRSC Media on X. and then Saturdays and Sundays at 7 p.m. on ESP TV on Facebook, as well as ErnestSmithProductions.com. Thank you. God bless. All right. See you next time, my friends.